Back on October 2nd, I found out my wife was cheating on me, both emotionally and physically. Can you believe it? We've been trying to fix things. Just last month, she started really trying, reading some book about making things right and going all out to change. She even started showing she was sorry and cared. Talk about a roller coaster, huh? We actually started talking again, really getting back on track emotionally. But just like a lot of people do, she wasn't completely honest at first, kind of drip-feeding the truth because she was too scared to face it. Then get this, she bails on Saturday night, heads to her mom's place. And just yesterday, bam! She drops the bombshell that yes, they were physically involved. We've been married for 4 years, together for a decade, and everything was awesome until our daughter came into the picture a few years back. So here's where it gets really wild. Out of nowhere, she starts treating me like I'm the bad guy, like I can't do anything right. And get this, I was always the one stepping up with our daughter because she was pretty hands-off. I was into cooking, cleaning, all the stuff I did even before our daughter was born. But things with her just started going south. Big time. It was like riding a crazy roller coaster. Some days she was super nice, and other days she had this keep away from me vibe. Total mood swings. Then things got even weirder. Her thinking? Totally scrambled. She couldn't even talk about her feelings or what was bugging her. I started thinking, maybe it's postpartum depression, right? Even the doctors thought she should get tested for it. This was like 2 years after our daughter was born, but she never went for help. And check this out. She does this online test. And guess what it says? It points to her having psychotic MIA and some mild bipolar stuff, which is super common in her family. She's actually going to see a psychiatrist next week. And get this. She now wants to try marriage counseling to fix our relationship and get back what we had. She's diving into books like His Needs, Her Needs, and Divorce Busting. But here's the twist. She says our biggest problem? We've got an emotional connection, sure. But since she's got this image of the other guy as Mr. Perfect, she's just not feeling it physically with me anymore, even though we used to have an amazing connection. She says she's torn and loves both of us, me and the other guy, equally. Crazy, right? Especially since it's not even a fair comparison. And she knows it. I was there when she ended things with him. Now, she's like an open book, tells me where she's at, lets me check all her emails, cell phones, accounts whenever I want. She even switched jobs. But here's the catch. She's still stuck in this fog, not seeing that any relationship eventually loses that wild, crazy lust phase. Here's where I'm at. I'm like 95% sure I'm done with her. Why? Because I deserve better, and she's had more than enough chances. But for those who've been down this road of infidelity, I've got a big question. Is it worth it to try counseling? Maybe to help her become a better person? Or even save our marriage? What about seeing doctors to check if there's something off with her mentally? She's made some changes, that's true. So I'm wondering, is maybe just giving it more time the answer? So I'm really keen to hear what others think about this whole mess. By now, the entire family is clued in on everything, and they've been amazing in supporting me. For me, the biggest deal breaker was the lying and the constant disrespect. There's only so much you can take before you start feeling like a doormat, right? I thought we were on the path to recovery, and maybe this is just a part of the process, especially since she's finally starting to come clean. But now it's time for a reality check. I told her I was done, that I'd pack up her stuff and arrange for her to collect it. I just don't think it's really sunk in for her yet. And guess what? She's already asking to stop by tonight, which is totally not happening. We've already been through all the physical stuff she did with him. It was more about showing her how much her lying hurt me, especially since she just jumped right into those things with him. She even said our bonding was great, but apparently she felt a stronger connection with him. The affair lasted about 4 months, with 1 month of that being physical. She wrote a letter to me about all this, but initially she couldn't even bring herself to give it to me. She sort of left the letter out for me to find, not directly handing it over. The affair wrapped up on October 3rd, so last week marked 4 months since it ended. The guy was a co-worker on some project. She said he showered her with attention, which she fell for because of her self-esteem issues. Plus, she thought I didn't love her anymore. Why? Because I wasn't complimenting her every single day or noticing every little thing about her. It feels like I could argue until I'm blue in the face to defend myself against that. But to her, it's about an unmet need. Assuming she's done with the lying, I found out the guy wasn't married. They don't work directly together anymore. Should have mentioned, she switched departments within the same large company and is now looking for a new job. As far as I know, she's only run into him twice at work since then. I've got someone on the inside keeping an eye on things for me. She says she finally realized that what she was doing was wrong and that it would wreck our family. I totally agree. Either he got what he wanted and ditched her, or they're still at it and I just can't find proof. The last time we talked, she was still trying to pull the victim card on me, regardless of what really happened. Honestly, I'll be in a much better place once all this is over. She can go be with someone as selfish as she is, if that's what she thinks makes a good relationship. I've decided to take what I can get, especially since she's not in the mood to fight for much right now. I'm ready to run with it. The whole thing blew up when I found a letter she wrote me. Initially, she just blurted out that she wanted a divorce totally out of the blue one night. Then came the classic line, "I love you, but I'm not in love with you." That was a dead giveaway that something was up. After the initial shock wore off and my head cleared, I confronted her. I told her I needed the real reason for all this. That's when she wrote the letter, but she never actually handed it to me. She just left it somewhere I'd eventually find it, and that's how I discovered the truth. The only time she ever cried about a problem in our relationship was when she said we needed to spend more time together. We tried to fix things, started running and hanging out like old times. That lasted like a month. Then boom, she's making excuses to bail. That was my only hint something was way off. Now she's totally freaking out, or reality's finally smacking her in the face. She's even talking about stuff she wants for her new apartment. She's saying she'll read anything I suggest and she's off to get help. But get this, she's all excited just getting emails from me, even though they're just about daycare stuff. She's in for a shock when she sees the divorce papers, and tonight she's spilling everything to her family. I'm thinking she got kicked to the curb after telling them I was out. She's in full-on panic mode, acting all hopeful over a simple email. Brace yourselves. There's going to be a flood of tears and a drama show about how sorry she is. Talk about desperate. She might show some guilt, admit how dumb she was for betraying you. But the real deal? You've got to stick to your guns. If you want, make her prove for years that she's actually sorry. She took all her love and gave it to some other guy, and she thinks that guy is Mr. Perfect. That's got to cut deep, man. Even if she's truly sorry, it's not going to fill the massive hole she's left in your heart. On top of being sorry, she needs to wake up and see that this perfect guy didn't care how much he was helping her hurt your family. If he was even close to perfect, he wouldn't have helped her betray you and your kid. Their motives? Pure selfishness, not caring about your marriage or your innocent child. She needs to see how they both trashed their integrity, trust, and loyalty. Right now she's weak, and buddy, it's time for you to look out for number one and get that divorce. Then it's up to you if you want to give her a chance to prove she's really changed. Even if her tears and emotions seem real right now, that alone won't stop her weaknesses from hurting you again down the road. You need years of her showing real change and consistent actions. That's your best bet before you even think about deciding to remarry her. She might be able to slap a quick band-aid on the deep pain you're feeling now, but don't expect your hurt to just vanish in a few months. She's got to face her serious integrity problems, and her love for you needs a major boost. Sure, help her out as much as you can. She's the mother of your child, after all. But you've got to be absolutely certain, totally convinced, that she's made real substantial improvements on her weaknesses. It's going to require years of her demonstrating change through her actions. It does seem like your wife has started to take some steps towards self-improvement, but she's got a long road ahead. She's caused a lot of damage to both herself and the marriage. In response to your situation, staying the course seems like your plan. Last night, she tried all sorts of things when she dropped off your daughter. When she dropped off your daughter, she said she hates herself and is going to get the help she needs to fix our family. I just told her that actions speak louder than words. I made it clear that nothing would change until she actually got help, and then she'd have to prove it to me. She even tried to guilt trip me about her having to start over and being homeless. Now that I've decided to divorce her, I probably just told her that it's all on her, and she made that choice herself. She even said she couldn't believe I was the one giving up on the relationship, especially since I was always against divorce. Again, I just told her that she made the decision much easier for me to make. I deserve to be with someone who respects and loves only me. Then, as she was leaving, the waterworks started. You guys pretty much nailed it with your predictions about her actions. She's still at her mom's house, and I've got our home. She's agreed to everything about the divorce so far, which has been a relief. Personally, I've been feeling pretty good, getting back to things I've missed over the years. I'm even looking at some smaller homes with more land, a place where my daughter and I can really enjoy ourselves. I'm just ready to move on and live life. I've been keeping up with therapy and reading various books to improve myself and gain a better understanding of things. But overall, I'm feeling happy and content right now. As for her, she's been playing the victim card, complaining about how hard it is to find a place to live. Even her mom said her standards are too high. She's still going to counseling and says she's not ready to give up yet, even though she knows I'm moving on without her. Her family is really upset with her too. but they've been incredibly supportive throughout this process and respect my decision. The bottom line is, she still needs a lot of help in understanding how relationships and marriage should work. I hope she and the other guy enjoy their time together, if he even sticks around that long. My wife knew my stance on cheating before we got married, that there would be no second chances. Despite that, I did try to make it work and feel I've done everything within my power. But it takes two to tango, and she was unwilling to play her part. I have no regrets about walking away now. It's been about a month since I filed for divorce, so I thought I'd provide everyone with an update and needed to vent a bit. Everything on my side has been going well. I've only had one brief down moment that lasted about 30 minutes. Things are moving forward with the sale of the marital house, and I've been pre-approved for the potential future homes that I've been looking at. For future readers who might doubt the advice on this forum, here's something to consider. Several people mentioned in previous posts that they thought the affair had gone underground. I've never been able to prove this, but I finally decided that our relationship was over regardless. Last weekend, I went motorcycle riding with my brother-in-law, and he started telling me that my soon-to-be ex's mom is about ready to kick her out for lying to her about the affair. I thanked him for the info, but said that what's going on between her and her mom is their business. The next day, her mom calls me out of nowhere and asks why I finally filed for divorce. I laid it out for her. The constant lying, the lack of remorse, and my feeling that the affair was still going on. To my surprise, she agreed with everything I said. She even mentioned how my ex is never home when I have our daughter. Her mom told me that she won't even give a reason for her actions, just saying our marriage didn't work out. She's been dressing nicer lately and has a weekend trip planned with someone at the end of May. She never talks about trying to fix or save our marriage. Her mom went on to say that she's given her until the end of the month to move out. She's planning to confront her about her dishonesty and demand the truth. I just wanted to share this information with hopes it might help others move on quicker when advice is provided on the form and accept their current situation. I have been amazed at some of the things she has said to me or tried. Everyone is correct when they tell you about the cheater script for such a smart woman. She sure is acting dumb right now, or thinks everyone else is dumb. These are just a few examples, but it's pretty clear she sees me as a backup plan. She told me that I filed for divorce too hastily and should have given her more than 2 weeks of separation to gather her thoughts. She also mentioned that her therapist said she was shell-shocked and wouldn't fully grasp the consequences of her actions until she lived on her own. 3. I asked her not to bring any dates to my home if she needed to pick up our daughter for at least a year, if she still had any respect for me. I told her I would do the same in return. I have no plans of dating for a while, but as soon as I said this, she tried to guilt me with the waterworks. For no matter what I say or how I say it, I am being mean. 5. She can't understand why I don't want to talk to her unless it pertains to our daughter. 6. She also does not understand why my family does not want to see or talk to her right now. A few months later, it is finally over. Everything became official yesterday. She tried to come back twice, but I stayed firm on my decision. I even caught the guy I suspected she was seeing mowing her lawn at her rental house one day. She claims she was paying him for the work, but I have my doubts. He's welcome to her. In the divorce, I ended up getting everything, plus some extra items I didn't really want, but can sell for extra cash. I even got asked out a few times while the process was going on, decided to pass on the offers. But the sky seems sunnier these days. Karma, I guess. It got her last night when she hit horse poop on her motorcycle, went down and broke her foot and got a bad case of road rash. I am glad she is okay for our daughter's sake. I got the house. I'm planning to sell it and get a smaller one with even more land than I have now. I've jumped back into off-roading, way more than I used to focus on weightlifting, and I've been making new friends like crazy. I'm starting to see just how toxic she was. My daughter and I have been doing all sorts of cool stuff together, stuff her mom never wanted to do with us. Her mom moved to New York with her new husband and has been staying out of the picture now. She still talks to me every now and then. All she has said was she will regret her action on day and more or less said her daughter was an idiot. Me and her dad talk once a week, still work on cars and things like that. Nothing's changed in how her dad and brother treat me. They still see me like a son. She tries to make small talk now and then, asking about work and what I'm up to, but I keep it short with a "not much" and let the conversation fizzle out. The only time I really talk to her is when it's about our daughter, and I've made that boundary crystal clear. Our daughter does not like her mom very much. I never speak about any of this with her or speak badly about her mom, and all interactions are civil. She's only 3. I think people are right. Kids figure things out pretty quickly on their own story too. I recently finally got divorced from a man I was married to for 17 years. I'm starting to see that he might have some pretty strong narcissistic traits like control, manipulation, deceit, and infidelity. He doesn't resort to name-calling or belittling, and sometimes he even shows a kind and caring side. But the problem is, he's unpredictable because of his selfish actions that a trustworthy person wouldn't do. Reading through these posts, I realize I'm in a similar bind as others who keep hoping things will improve with patience, kindness, and more attention. He had a very cruel affair 4 years ago, moved out into our vacation home in another state, and moved her in. I went to our home to surprise him on his birthday, and I got the surprise. Her belongings were in my closet and on my nightstand. More lies to justify. It wasn't what it looked like. 6 months later, he was still trying to break it off, but he was just gaslighting both of us, essentially telling the same sob story. I reached a point where I just told him to stay away. But that's exactly when he decided he wanted to come back. Since it was his first slip-up that I knew of, and he seemed genuinely sorry, I gave him another chance. I made it clear, though, that I couldn't go through another affair. Fast forward 2.5 years, and he started secretly spending cash. He wouldn't tell me where it was going, but after uncovering his new affair, it clicked. He was spending that money on her. She was a masseuse with extras again. He moved out, flew across the country to get her and move her in. They spent 6 months planning to purchase a massage business, and they both moved back across the country. They both own this business and have been together for almost 2 years. He gave up and lost so much. He says he wants to have her buy him out in return, but needs money to move and start back here. The divorce was complicated financially, as he lost a substantial amount of our money in bad investments. I had to short sale our new house and our vacation home, and now have to find a place to live. I was very close to retiring, but I'm glad I did not, as it will take several years to get back on my feet because we were still working on our finances. He's been keeping in touch through emails and occasional calls, but only when she's not at home. She usually doesn't know he contacts me. If she ever finds out, he lies about what we talked about and omits the emotional connection he still shows. I haven't responded to his emails for 2 days now. It feels like trying to overcome an addiction. Really tough. I get angry with myself. I should be so angry with him. For all the lies, financial hardships, and for being made a fool of after putting him first and trying so hard to make him feel loved for our entire relationship. I do get angry, but it subsides and I'm back to being his soft pillow. This is my first post. Man, it's like a never-ending cycle, but I seriously need some help with this. I'm starting to believe he's actually plotting a comeback. What if he's playing a sneaky game, knowing that I'll always rescue him even when I ignore him? It's like he's using puppy dog eyes and mind tricks to control me into thinking I'll forever be at his beck and call. How can I avoid feeling guilty for not giving in to his manipulation? Not receiving like from him for knowing he chose to hurt me so he could be selfish with someone, and is still with her until he can get something better. How do you stay angry enough to overcome loneliness and familiarity and move on? I think I should be further along. What am I doing wrong that it's taking so long to move forward? I think I know the majority answer, but is it possible? And is it healthy to have a friendship relationship after a very hurtful betrayal, one after 2 years? Should I be at a point where I don't think about him, or only very rarely don't care about him and have truly moved on? I'm not there yet, and I get down on myself for being behind on where I should be too. I'm starting to think I can't let go of this friendship because deep down, I suspect she might have manipulated him into betraying me, and now he's sneaking around behind her back. If that's true, it's like I'm sinking to her level and it's totally eating me up inside. So here's the bombshell. Can we actually keep being friends after all this drama? Is that even a good idea? The hurt and betrayal damaged our relationship immensely, and I don't trust him anymore. I think I must feel safe since he has been with her for 2 years, and they live across the country for I worry that he will come into a big source of money and will move back to get back together. I have told him that will be his choice, not based on me. But he can't be alone. I'm looking for some reassurance here. There's this chance that's come up, and I'm honestly scared that if he comes back, I'll end up feeling responsible for him and fall right back into taking care of him, which is a huge problem. I've always been that person who fixes things, often at my own expense. My dream, though, is to be one of those people who can just up and move on without a second thought. But I've already stumbled, hesitated, and put things off because I avoid confrontation like the plague. But I know the strength I would love to own and show. Some of the people who write in are so strong. I wonder why it's hard for me. I don't want to be stuck in an unhealthy place. I hope I'm not. Thank goodness for keeps me occupied during the day with occasional downtimes, but sometimes I get lost with my feelings during the drive home and arrival to an empty home. I'm truly grateful for the support and understanding from those who can relate and share their thoughts and care. I've delved into countless books about narcissism, and it's becoming crystal clear to me that he's constantly on the hunt for his narcissistic supply to fulfill his insatiable needs. He'll never be without a woman in his life, and he couldn't even think about leaving one without having another lined up, ready to provide a safe haven for him. He's got this uncanny knack for always having something up his sleeve to make himself appear super important. And let me tell you, he's a master at putting on that charming facade, making everyone think he's the epitome of integrity and honor. But here's the kicker, he's just that good at it. No one has a clue about his shady history lurking in the shadows. If only he could shed that narcissistic personality of his, he'd be an absolute catch. But the truth is, I've only glimpsed that better side of him fleetingly. Following the first affair, I made a bold decision and told him to stick around. He begged to come back, and I laid it out for him. There was a mountain of work to be done to mend the wounds he had inflicted. I couldn't have been clearer. If he hurt me once more, I wouldn't and couldn't continue with him. He swore up and down that he got it, promising never, ever to hurt me again. Intellectually, I understand he is not a good risk. I believe every friend and family member would give up on me if I took him back. I have struggled so hard to stand up to the apparent abuse that cast a negative veil on my self-esteem that I am struggling to rebuild. He is so good at what he does. I know the new and younger partner is probably enthralled with his adoration and charm. It's comforting, albeit a bit bittersweet, to know that I'm not the only one grappling with the question of whether it's possible to move on from the past and keep this person in my life. I'm well aware that he'd like to maintain our friendship, and he's even brought up the idea of us getting married since I'm already divorced. Sometimes I can't help but wonder, why not? And other times, when I agree. No. If I were to tell him to get out of my life, he probably would try and slaughter me and would leave. He cannot take betrayal and rejection, I agree. It would probably be at my cost to continue a relationship. Some days I get a little lost, and then I remember the good times we had, and how nice he can be. Maintaining my strength is my top priority now. You can't drag me down anymore, and honestly, you're not worth the risk. I no longer want you as part of my life, personally or otherwise. So, how should this be handled? Should I gradually reduce our communication, letting it naturally fade away? Or should I have a straightforward conversation and make it clear that continuing our relationship is just not right, especially when he's carrying on behind someone else's back? You know what? I think it's time to lay it all on the line and give him a reality check. Tell him straight up that he's in the gutter, just like she is, and I'm cutting all ties with him. It's about to hit the 2-year mark since he blindsided me by announcing he had his own place and was bailing out. We'd been hitched for 6 long years, but let's not forget that little cheating episode in 2018 that dragged on for half a year. He moved out then also. Both times he initially said it was not about another woman, but both times I quickly found out the error was the reason. It made sense because in both cases things were seemingly fine between us the first time. Although he moved out, and her in our vacation home without me knowing, he went back and forth telling me he needed to see her one more time to break it off. Hindsight is a powerful thing, and looking back I can't help but realize how naive I was. If only I had known about this channel, I could have been a lot wiser this time around. After he walked out that door, he never looked back. Sure, he's bombarded me with texts, emails, phone calls, and even in-person visits, all dripping with declarations of love and a desire to patch things up. But you know what? Over the past month, I've refused to respond to those sweet words, only addressing the practical matters related to our financial entanglements. He got us into a mess by investing a nauseating amount of money into bogus deals. As a result, we lost our house, our vacation home, timeshare, and lots of cash. He is fine in the sense that he has a home and a business with the OW that makes good money. I don't have a home, and I'm living with relatives. Humiliating as I am 58 years old and have been self-sufficient since high school, paid my way through undergrad and grad school at major universities. On an intellectual level, I totally get that cutting off all contact would likely speed up the healing process. I look at those entries from people who've done just that, and I can't help but envy them. They're on day 2 of happiness and optimism, and I wish I could fast track to that place. I mean, come on, it's been 2 whole years, which feels like an eternity. It's definitely on the long side, and yet here I am still nursing a broken heart. I poured my heart and soul into our marriage and fought tooth and nail to make it work, and it's a struggle to move on from that. I honestly loved and cared for him more than anything. I wanted to stay married forever, and he knew and felt it. I get sad when I know they are on vacation together or when he pampers and protects her the way he did me. I really thought it wouldn't last, especially with his comments that they seem like roommates and their relationship doesn't have the romantic and fun flavor. Our relationship took a sharp turn, and he's been missing me and what we had like crazy. He talks about wanting to return, but there's always a financial twist. He says he needs the funds to make a fresh start and build a career before he can come back. It seems like my value to him is tied to money. Just to add to the mix, She's the big earner in their dynamic, allowing him to take it easy on the work front. They're both caught up in this extravagant, high-spending lifestyle. They have new cars. I realize now that when he has an opportunity to get something that makes him feel good, material things, money, attention, bonding, he will do whatever it takes to get it. Although he has empathy, he has had the ability to turn it off when it gets in the way of getting what he wants. Therefore, he knows how to not feel bad. He unloaded a barrage of hurtful words on me that are still etched in my heart and mind. He made me feel like I didn't try hard enough for him, that I should just be patient and wait around. He went on about how these other women go the extra mile to pamper him and win his favor, emphasizing how they're younger, which he found flattering. The list of hurtful remarks goes on, but he adds that he still loves me and I will always be his only love. I'm much better than I was a year ago. I don't have tears very often and have more moments of strength and indifference than before. Maybe if my financial situation was better and I had my own home, it would help. I know he is not good relationship material, at least for me, other than the 2 affairs and occasional lying. We shared some incredible moments together, and he was the only one in my life. However, I can't deny that his deceitful actions chipped away at our trust, which ultimately led to a breakdown in intimacy and the eventual demise of our relationship. Deep down, I understand that trying to rekindle things wouldn't work because he doesn't exhibit the necessary signs of genuine reconciliation and healing. I might still have a glimmer of hope, but I hope it's not a hope for him to return, as I need to move forward in a healthier direction. I would be insane, and I would have friends and family give up on me. I think, like others, it would be nice to know he regrets and hurts not having me in his life anymore. Asking too much. I'm fairly outgoing and joined a gym a year ago. I still work 2 jobs and go out with friends every chance I get. I'm thinking about jumping back into the dating scene just for some good company. Yep, I'm talking about diving headfirst into the world of online dating. It could be the adrenaline rush I need to conquer this mountain of emotions. I mean, seriously, why am I letting my past hold me back? Sometimes I get this crazy notion that I'm too ancient to make a move like this and should stick to my usual routine. But maybe it's time to shake things up a bit. I'm just pondering if there's a way to speed up this healing process and if I'm taking longer than usual to get back on the healthy track. Apologies for the lengthy message. It's one of those tough nights, and getting these thoughts out feels somewhat therapeutic. I'm not sure about others, but just hearing from even one person can make you feel more resilient and grounded, like you're getting back on the road to reality and well-being. I appreciate your comment, and it's great to hear that you find support and advice here. As for OP number 2, it's always a good idea to check out other stories and experiences while waiting for more responses.